I'm Andrew Edwards, and you're watching Gear Live. On the heels of the big Samsung Galaxy Note 9 launch just a few days ago, Samsung's got another new hardware announcement today, which looks to make managing both your Wi-Fi and your smart home devices even easier. This is Samsung's SmartThings Wi-Fi system, and today I'm going to tell you all about it. What is going on, Tech Squad? Andrew Edwards here, editor-in-chief of GearLive.com. If this is your first time here, this channel is all about tech, gadgets, and gaming. So if you're into that kind of stuff, feel free to hit the subscribe button down below along with the bell notification icon so you don't miss any future videos. As I mentioned today, we are talking about this. This is brand new. It is the Samsung SmartThings Wi-Fi Mesh Home Router System. Samsung sponsored this video, and not only does this likely improve upon the Wi-Fi and the router that you currently have in your home, but this also acts as a smart home hub as well. What you get inside the box are 3 of these Samsung routers. And the question that probably comes to your mind right away is, why would I need 3 routers in my home? I have 1 router, I get decent signal, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Why would I need 3 different routers in my home? Well, the problem with homes today is that there's so many different shapes, so many different sizes. On one end of the spectrum, you can live in a small apartment, and on the completely opposite end of the spectrum, you may have a 3 or 4 story home, and both places need Wi-Fi, but one router is gonna perform differently in a small apartment versus a multi-story dwelling. That's where the SmartThings Wi-Fi system comes in. The reason that there are 3 units is because they act in a mesh configuration. What that means is you plug one of these guys into your home internet connection, probably connected to a modem, and the other 2 you spread throughout your home. So let's just say you have a home where you have decent Wi-Fi, but in one area of the house, or maybe a couple areas of the house, it's not as fast or just doesn't even exist at all. You take the other 2 units and you plug them in where the dead spots are, and they'll talk to each other. So in other words, if you have one of these connected to your router on the first floor, you can plug the second one in on the second floor and get just as good coverage up there as you would on the first floor. And then you can take the third one and put it in the far corner of the house where your signal is super weak, or maybe near your backyard where you might want to have signal as well. And all 3 of these routers will talk to each other wirelessly, spreading out your signal throughout your entire living space. Now, one of the main advantages here, and one of the things I am most excited about, is the integration of Plume's Wi-Fi software. Now, if you haven't heard of Plume, about 1.5 years ago or so, Plume released its own mesh Wi-Fi system, which consisted of these really small pods that would plug directly into an outlet. Since the pods were so small, you needed a bunch of them to kind of blanket your home in good Wi-Fi. Actually, 1 pod per room where you wanted to access Wi-Fi. And one thing I said to myself back then was, I wish there was a Wi-Fi system that had better hardware but used Plume's software. And guess what? That's exactly what Samsung made with SmartThings Wi-Fi. These are powered by Plume's Mesh Wi-Fi software. And if you're unaware, let me tell you why that matters. If you've been paying attention to a bunch of tech lately, you've probably heard the term AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning. That's actually what Plume does and uses to optimize your Wi-Fi network. Once you get things out of the box and set up, the Mesh Wi-Fi system will optimize and give you good connectivity across your home within 30 minutes. So right off the bat, you're getting optimization out of the box. But then the next day, even more optimization occurs. Within 24 hours of usage, the system will re-optimize to improve network speeds as it learns the network environment and how you've been using it on the first day. So in other words, since you have these spread across your home, it knows if one of them is handling a lot of video streaming, and if another one's handling just some pretty lightweight work, and maybe the third one has a bunch of your smart devices on it, etc. It starts to learn and know what's happening and how things are being used so that it can optimize and make sure things are fast and speedy for you. But then over the next few weeks and continuously thereafter, optimizations continue to take place. The mesh system learns to allocate bandwidth capacity to the rooms and devices that need it most, and it'll keep doing this going forward. So that's Plume's artificial intelligence Wi-Fi optimization. There's another cool feature that Plume enables though that I really like, which they call Home Pass. With Home Pass, you can give guests access to your Wi-Fi network, but you don't just have to have your own network and then one guest network. You can actually give different guests different passwords to your Wi-Fi and you can give each one a specific profile that you control that lets them access and not access certain things. So for example, maybe you have a babysitter coming by, you want to give them access to your Wi-Fi, but don't want to give them access to any of your smart devices, and you want to make sure that their Wi-Fi access ends at, let's just say, 10 p.m. when they're scheduled to leave. You can do that. Separately, you can give your kids a Wi-Fi password that allows them on the network, allows them to access, let's just say, their smart speakers, but doesn't allow them to access your smart cameras or smart door lock, and also make sure that their Wi-Fi access gets shut off each night at 9 p.m. and doesn't get re-enabled until the next morning at 10 a.m. HomePass gives you more control of who gets onto your Wi-Fi network and what they can do once they're on it. And the best part is, if you want to revoke someone's access to your network, you don't have to go in and change the password for everybody. You don't have to change the network name. You just go in and delete that specific user from being able to access your router. With the older Samsung Connect Home, you can connect up to 5 of these guys on one network, which would give you about 7,500 square feet of coverage, which should be plenty for almost anyone you'd think. But with the new SmartThings Wi-Fi, you can actually connect up to 32 of these in one system, giving you a ridiculous 48,000 square feet of Wi-Fi coverage. On the back, you'll find the reset button, a power input, and 2 Ethernet ports. You can plug wired devices into the Ethernet ports for a more solid connection, or plug these directly into your home network if your home or business is wired. That allows you to take advantage of even faster speeds with Ethernet backhaul, eliminating data from needing to hop between the nodes wirelessly. Now, as amazing as it sounds to greatly increase the footprint of your Wi-Fi signal, as I mentioned, these also act as hubs to control your smart home devices. That's right, this also acts as a smart home hub, connecting all your Samsung and third-party smart home devices to your Wi-Fi network. And aside from Wi-Fi controllable devices, it also supports controlling Zigbee and Z-Wave smart home devices as well. This allows you to control a variety of smart home appliances and devices remotely. This includes security systems, smart locks, kitchen appliances, TVs, speakers, lights, and more, using the Samsung SmartThings app on Android or iOS. So what that means is that rather than having to jump between different apps to control different smart home devices inside your home, you can use Samsung SmartThings app to control all of your smart home devices. I've found compatibility to be pretty wide and extensive, as SmartThings works with devices from brands like LifeX, Ecobee, Lutron, Honeywell, Yale, Philips Hue, Ring, Google, and many more. If you're interested and want to pick up the Samsung SmartThings Wi-Fi, you can pick up the 3-pack, which I have here. This runs for $279.99. Or if you'd rather buy a single unit, you can pick up single units for $119.99. There you have it, guys. That was your look at the brand new Samsung SmartThings Wi-Fi home mesh router. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this something you'd be interested in setting up, interested in using, etc.? I'll meet you down there for further discussion. If you enjoyed this one, please do drop a like on this video, and don't forget you can click or tap on my face when it appears here at the bottom of the screen in order to subscribe for free to the channel so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks so much for watching as always, guys. I appreciate your support. I'm Andrew Edwards, and I will catch you in the next video.